Married right out of college and basically clueless, this young couple started on a personal quest to strengthen their own marriage. What they learned drove them on a mission to fight, to build marriages around the world. Now, 29 years later, the parents of 4 children, Jim is a certified marriage intensive coach. Teresa holds a master's in marriage and family therapy. She is a licensed professional counselor, and together they are the co-founders of Family Matters First. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to build a mighty marriage, a fantastic family, and become a prepared parent by listening to this podcast daily. And now, your hosts, Jim and Teresa Adams.
Hi, my name's Jim Adams. This is my wife, Teresa, the mother of our 4 children, and my wife of the last 29 years, and together we're co-founders of Family Matters First. We're walking through a series of questions, 12 questions actually, questions that couples must ask before they get married. Questions you must ask of each other, discussions that you should be having prior to getting married.
Right.
So now we're on question number 6.
That's right.
And that question is,
how did your family handle conflict?
guys, listen, pull your chair up closer. This is deep. This is important. Because here's the thing. Whether you know it or not, we are the product of our past.
Whether we like it or not.
And we end up repeating the same behavior that we saw at home. So here's an example. When my parents had conflict, my mother would always break all the dishes. Or when my parents had conflict, my dad would always storm out of the house. So you've learned that behavior. You might not even know it. You're repeating that, and you don't even know you're doing it.
Right. Unless you've had a changed heart, of course, transformation.
Thank you. Like
but go ahead.
Yes. That's a very good point. We talk about that in one of our podcast episodes, Lose Your Mind So You Can Love Your Spouse. Please look that one up. But the whole idea is that, did you just go like that?
No, I just said I digress. Keep going.
Because are you mimicking what I'm doing?
No.
Okay.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. I couldn't see what you were doing.
I don't have to be
Well, that's why I was
copying
watching.
you.
Excuse
Okay.
us. Okay. What were we saying? Before I got sidetracked.
Let's get back to conflict.
How did your family handle conflict? How did your family handle conflict? Okay. So now we spend weeks and weeks, or actually I guess days and days on the podcast talking about the right way to handle conflict. So we're not going to go into that now because we only got like a little small window in the vignette. But the thing we're trying to communicate is maybe you saw stonewallers where when your parents were arguing, they wouldn't talk with each other.
Yeah, sometime.
Okay,
yeah.
so maybe you saw a lot of aggression.
Yes, possibly.
Maybe you saw literally physical abuse. I'm sorry if you did.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, maybe you saw verbal abuse, emotional abuse.
Don't like that either.
Maybe you saw a lot of things, but please don't fall into the pattern of repeating what you saw at home if it's not good.
Right.
If it's not good.
Absolutely.
You don't have to completely be a slave to your past. As a matter of fact, your past makes an excellent guidepost, but a really poor hitching post. You see that?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, use it to guide you, but don't say stuck there.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's right.
so whatever we're not going to give you a lot of tips for handling conflict in this vignette, but I encourage you to look up our podcast on caring enough to embrace conflict. I think we did 3 episodes on exactly the right way, but what we're trying to communicate to you guys today is be aware of what you saw growing up
and talk about it.
And talk about it.
Yes.
And be aware of what was good that you want to repeat.
Right, positives.
Thank you. And what was bad that you don't want to repeat.
Negatives, yes.
Okay, Teresa, we got a little bit more time. So under the heading of how did your family handle conflict, give me a couple of things that we can share, or help me think of a couple of things. Don't try to necessarily hide conflict from the children.
Right. Just talk about it.
Do
it in a way that is that they do get to hear you, so that you can help them deal with conflict.
And where they can understand that mom and dad have conflict.
Right, exactly, that they're not perfect.
So because what we see on the other side is people who say, I never saw my parents argue. I've been married 6 months. My husband and I have had 4 arguments, so therefore my marriage is doomed. You see what I'm saying? Because they never saw that.
Right.
Okay, so it's important to talk about how did you see conflict handled in the house you grew up in, and more importantly, how are you going to handle it in this marriage in your new house, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So we're walking through the 12 questions that couples must ask before they get married. And one question you should be asking each other is, what did you see at home? And in your past, how do you handle conflict? So you're not surprised and find this out when you get married.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We'll see you the next time as we continue this little process of walking through 12 questions you must ask before you get married. Thanks.
Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your life. We really appreciate you listening. Please share this podcast with at least 3 people today, and remember to go to iTunes and give us your 5-star review. Your reviews and downloads make this show more visible and accessible to others. Also, we encourage you to visit our website at familymattersfirst.org for resources and helpful tips. If you have a situation needing personal or professional attention, there are a number of ways to schedule an individual session right on our website. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and send us your emails. We really enjoy reading your comments, and we encourage you to send suggestions for future show topics. You can email us at podcast@familymattersfirst.org. Stay encouraged. Continue in the fight to build mighty marriages, fantastic families, and prepared parents. Invite Christ in to strengthen your family and change your world.